phone bill. What does a Cartesian coordinate system look like? It looks like graph paper with a dark line for the x-axis and another dark line for the y-axis. These two axes cross perpendicular to each other. The point where they cross is at point 0 for each axis. This graph extends forever in all directions. Both axes are labeled with numbers according to the number line. You can think of the x-axis as a horizontal number line and the y-axis as a vertical number line. When you draw one, though, you can only draw it as big as you need it to be. If you only need the x-axis and the y-axis to go up to 10, then you can stop there for both axes. Let's look at some example to see how it works. Let's start with points. Before plotting points, let's talk about how points are labeled. Points are labeled based on their position on the graph in relation to both the x-axis and the y-axis. For example, if you look at this point and you draw an imaginary vertical line straight down, you see that it lands where the x-axis equals 2. This x-axis number will be the first part of your label. Drawing an imaginary horizontal line, you see that it crosses the y-axis where it equals 3. This is the second part of the label for that point. To label this point, then, you write the first part and the second part separated by a comma inside a pair of parentheses like this. Look at this second point. Try labeling this one on your own. Where does the imaginary vertical line cross the x-axis? What about the imaginary horizontal line? Because the imaginary vertical line crosses the x-axis at 4, and the imaginary horizontal line crosses the y-axis at -2, the point is labeled 4, -2. Now that you know how points are labeled, plotting points becomes easier. Plotting points is essentially labeling points in reverse. For example, if you were given the point 0, 3 to plot, you would first find the vertical imaginary line where the x value is 0, and then you would follow this line either up or down until you reach the horizontal imaginary line where the y value is 3. Once you've found it, place a dot on the graph and label it with 0, 3. You try plotting the point -1, 2. You first find the vertical imaginary line where the x-axis is -1. Once you've found it, you follow it up to where the y-axis is 2. You have found the point. Now place a point there and label it with -1, 2.